Welcome everybody, Mr. Vidich here. Today we are doing lesson 5.2, evaluation of algebraic expressions. So last time we were writing out our algebraic expressions, and this time we're actually going to work with them a little bit and see if we can get some answers. Okay, the reason we weren't able to evaluate algebraic expressions is because they are variables. So for example, from last time we had something like 2x plus 3. Well, I can't really get an answer there because I don't really know what x is. However, if I do know what x is, if I say maybe x equals 5, well, then it's a different story. Then I can actually go ahead and evaluate that algebraic expression. When I say evaluate, that basically means get an answer, get a numerical answer, so get a number. Okay, so the goal here, how we do that, is to substitute or replace the known value for the symbol. Okay, so let's try a few examples. Right here. It says here, evaluate the following. If A equals 3, B equals 5, C equals -2, and D equals -6. So this up here is kind of like a code. Oops, kind of like a code. You know, we now can decipher the code because we know what the code is. So 3 is A, 5 is B, -2 is C, and -6 is D. So if here's our code, and the first one is B minus C plus A, and if we're going to decipher that code, in other words, get an answer, I need to substitute my numbers for the symbols. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to use brackets when I do substituting. So I'm going to put a bracket here, and now I'm going to go ahead and find out what B is. Well, B was 5, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 5 instead of the B. Okay, now I have a minus sign, and I'm going to put a bracket here again, and I might as well go ahead and put a plus sign and a third bracket here for the A. And now I'm going to replace all those symbols. So instead of C, I have -2. And instead of A, I have 3. Okay, the reason I'm using brackets here is basically so I don't confuse my negative signs, such as in this case over here. You need to put a bracket because I have two negatives next to each other. And then that way I know what to do with them because the bracket helps me out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. As now I can take the brackets out, 5, and this is going to become a plus over here when you have two negatives like that, +2 plus 3. Okay, and I'm sure we can all do that in our head to get an answer of 10. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one over here. So again, instead of A, I'm going to use a bracket. Okay, and now I'm going to use a big bracket, and instead of B, I'm going to use another bracket, and then plus C, another bracket. Okay, now I have to, decipher my code here, and I'm going to put in, let me use a skinnier pen here. I'm going to use, put in all my numbers instead of the variables. Okay, so I got to go look at my code up top and see what A is. Well, A we said was 3. B was 5. And C was -6. Okay, and again, use brackets here just so you don't mess up with your multiplication signs and your plus and minus signs. So let me go ahead and rewrite this now. Now I can get rid of some of these brackets. So I'm going to put a 3 here, and inside the bracket here I have 5 minus 6 because that plus and the minus here make a negative. So it's going to be 5 minus 6, and now I have 3, and then inside the bracket I have -1. And finally, okay, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 3 times -1 to get -3. All right, let's keep going here. All right, now I have A. Well, let me just shrink this a little bit. There we go. Okay, I have A times C minus B times D. Okay, so let me go ahead and get some brackets in here first. So I'm going to go A times C, so there's that bracket, and then B times D. Okay, and I think A was what was A? A was 3 and C was -2. So let's fill that out. So 3 and -2, and B and D is 5 and -6 for D. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this one off here. So 3 times -2 is -6, minus, and then I'm going to have to be careful here because I have 5 times -6, which gives me -30. So I'm going to have to use a bracket to write -30 because I don't want two minus signs next to each other like that. Bracket helps me figure out what it's going to become, because now I can see that those two negatives are going to really become a positive 30, and the final answer is going to be 24. All right, last one. Let's go ahead and decipher this one. All right, again, I'm going to use some brackets here. So I'm going to use the big bracket, and then inside here I have A and C minus D, and then on the outside I have B. Okay, so again, I'm going to use brackets just so I don't confuse my negative signs in my operations. All right, A was 3, C was -2, D was -6, and B was, I think I forgot, oh no, B was 5. There it is, B was 5. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one. So I'm going to write the bracket here, and I'm going to put the 5 on the outside, because I'm going to first do the whatever's inside the bracket first. Okay, so 3 times -2 is -6. And now again, be careful here with these two negatives, because they're going to make a positive. All right, so that's going to become +6. Okay, and now I have -6 plus 6. Well, that's going to become a 0. 0 times 5, well, anything times 0 is going to be 0. So our answer is going to be 0. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you next time.